Welcome to another Sales Hacker webinar. So good to have you here. And you know what, actually, this isn't just another Sales Hacker webinar. Today is actually very different and very special because Tyler Lessard, the VP of Marketing at Vidyard, has put together a little bit of a sales and marketing circus for us today. We're talking about videoifying your sales pitch. We're talking about taking ordinary sales pitches from like a call script or an email and turning them into truly creative, actually attention-grabbing, actually personalized video ideas for selling with video and prospecting with video. So reps are seeing success selling with video, and it's working for a lot of people, but sometimes it's just not enough to have just a video. Like sometimes you actually have to have a great idea behind the video. You have to have a good idea for making a video in the first place. So we've got an awesome panel today. We're all gonna come together, and Tyler's gonna tell us how this is gonna work in just a second. But I wanna just tell you who's on with us today, give some quick intros. Expect that this is gonna be interactive. So you're here, if you are a regular at Sales Hacker webinars, you know the drill. You join the live version for a reason, so you can talk to us. So please go down to the bottom of the window here, see the Q&A, open that right now, and we're gonna come back to this later. So right now, tell us on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being very, very comfortable, 1 being I'm brand new to this, how comfortable are you selling with video? Just give us an idea where you're at. We're gonna hold ourselves accountable for moving you all up a notch today. We've got a couple here, 3, 1, 5, 7, 7. This is pretty good, a good mix. I don't see, I'm a beast. Gil, we're gonna put you at an 11 today. If you're at a 10, you're going to 11. So here's who's with us today. There are a couple people who are absent contributors. Ryan O'Hara, the VP of Growth at LeadIQ, and Jamie Shanks, the CEO of Sales for Life, contributed quite a bit to the ideas, but they're not with us today. Presenting today, we've got Matt Hines, President of Hines Marketing, you probably know. We've got Marilyn Cox, the VP of Marketing at Club Essential Holdings, Morgan Gillespie, she's an account executive at Full Story, Sean Carroll Sandy, the CRO at the Selling Agency, and of course, Tyler Lessard, the VP of Marketing at Vidyard. So without any further ado, we're gonna get this started because we've got a lot to show you today. And I'm gonna go over to kick it over to Tyler to like set the stage a little bit and tell you how this is gonna work.
Beautiful. I don't know how this is going to work. We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be pretty wild, like you said. But the real emphasis point here is that what we wanted to do with this session wasn't just to talk theory about how to work video into your sales process. It was to get a bunch of creative minds together to actually brainstorm real examples of sales pitches and how those individuals could make video their own, how they could use creative different ways to actually build video into their real sales cadences. So this is all about showing you not just real examples, but the process that we went through to come up with some, I think, pretty interesting and effective ideas for a couple of different sales reps. Before I go on to the next one, I just want to reference the experts that we brought together here. And the goal here was also to bring together a mix of experiences and personalities, people coming from the world of marketing as great storytellers, people with comedy backgrounds, people with great selling experience, people that are selling today, people like Morgan Gillespie, who has crushed it with video as a sales development rep herself and is now an account executive. So the thing that I loved most about doing this as we went through the process was the ideas that stimulated because of these different people coming together. So what we're going to do here today is, again, this is all about helping you learn the process for adding video into your, the way that you sell and making it your own in your own unique way. And what we've done here is ahead of the webinar, we had whoever wanted to submit their pitch could, and we selected 2 lucky contestants from that are live with us, I hope, here today in the webinar. And those were Jackie Leahy from LinkSquares and Kylie Parks from PowerReviews. They are both in B2B software companies and I think have very relatable kinds of solutions for the audience here. The second thing we then did was we assembled 2 expert teams. So of the folks you see here today, we split off into 2 teams, and team 1 took LinkSquares, team 2 took PowerReviews, and we kept the teams separate so they could brainstorm their own ideas. And we're all coming together for the first time here today to share what we came up with our respective lucky contestants. And then finally, we capped it at having 2 hours as teams to brainstorm ideas. We could have gone on for days, but we tried to keep it confined so that we would come up with some crisp ideas. But rest assured, these are not super polished big productions. These are things that we had to come up with in a reasonable amount of time. And finally, before we jump into it, the rules and goals for the session here, just so you know the context. We focus specifically on video and outbound sales and sales pitches. So this is not about sort of through the deal cycle. It's an explicit focus on outbound prospecting. We wanted to share ideas for both webcam style and screen captures, videos you could have pre-recorded, so that there's a mix of ideas for all of you out there. There will be clear and actionable takeaways. So this isn't just about seeing what other people are doing. You will walk away with some really cool takeaways based on what we came up with. We have recorded sample videos of all the ones we're going to show today. We're not going to show the actual videos. We'll talk through thumbnail images and explain them, but you're going to get a link afterwards at the end of this webinar where you can go and actually watch all of these awesome and somewhat ridiculous at times videos. And finally,
things you're going to get after the webinar, sorry, Tyler,
yeah.
Along with those examples, if you want to refer back to what we talk about today, we'll also send the recording from today. We'll send you that tomorrow.
Yes.
So you'll be able to refer back to the reasoning behind all of it when you see the examples as well.
Fantastic. And then finally, as Colin mentioned earlier, audience participation is actually not optional in this one. It is a must. We want you all engaged. As we're going, if you have your own ideas for ways we could have incorporated video into these pitches, throw them out there. Let us know if you come up with something wild and wacky. Ask us questions as we're going. And finally, after the two teams pitch their ideas, you get to vote on which team you think did the best job at videoifying the sales pitch. So watch carefully, get ready to vote at the end, and there will be some awesome social shaming for the team that loses. So it is on, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, everybody, let's get ready to rumble. Team number one, take it away, Marilyn Cox.
Awesome. Well, I'm all about social shaming, so I can't wait to see how this turns out. Yeah, we were really fortunate to have Jackie Leahy with LinkSquares as our project this time around. And what I think is particularly fascinating about this use case is that Jackie and LinkSquares work on selling technology into general counsels and CFOs at growing tech companies. So to me, this was really appealing because it's a great challenge. I think a lot of times when people think about video and how to use video within sales outreach, they think that you have to be selling a really cool and sexy product. Not that LinkSquares isn't cool and sexy, but maybe not as much as some other maybe more social type of technology that you might think about. So they really focus on cloud solutions for storage and tagging, searching contracts. And again, their buyers aren't maybe what we typically think about when we think software and selling SaaS solutions in technology space. So these are our general counsels. They're very dominant. They're very knowledgeable. I might even say arrogant at times because they're very well educated. They're the experts in their space. They're definitely the legal experts within their organization. And one of the first questions that we posed to Jackie was, if you were going to personify your target audience, if you were going to have them identify with a well-known character, who would that be? And she quickly responded with that proud, strong lion with the painful thorn in their paw. And so that really gave us a good visual to work off of when we were thinking about who this target audience is. And she did a great job of summarizing her value props. Saving time. So stop wasting time manually searching contracts. Something that really clicked and resonated with us was the idea of Control F. It's a great play on words, and it is something that is very relatable and really resonates with that audience. The second value prop, of course, is mitigating risk. So while we want to be very outgoing and we want to present new ways of thinking and approaching their work, we also have to understand that this is a very risk-adverse audience, and this is a solution that's going to help them manage that risk and that fear that they might have. And then the last thing that we really looked at and researched was understanding Jackie more, because these types of sales outreaches need to be personal. They need to be coming from the individual. And that's a lot of times the big difference between sales and marketing outreach, is that the amount of targeting that a salesperson is able to do is much more extensive than a marketer who's marketing to a massive audience a lot of times. And so what's great about Jackie is she is a giver. You go out and you look at her LinkedIn profile, and if you have the opportunity to talk with her about what she's really passionate about, it is giving back to the community. She's involved with Project Bread up in Boston. She worked with Teach America. And so she has seen the impact that children who have breakfast going into the school day, what impact that has on them and their education. And it's something that she feels very passionate about. And she also enjoys running, which is, I mean, coming out of the Boston Marathon on Monday, a great opportunity to play around with that space, that region, and a hobby that she loves, and how that ties into all of the really great work that she does, both personally and professionally.
And my understanding is that Jackie's actually on the webinar with us today. So hi, Jackie. I hope some of this stuff is valuable for you. I think Jackie secretly is actually Kristen Bell from The Good Place. I've got a strong resonation there. But I think what our approach was through the lens of storytelling on this. You know, it'd be really easy to say we got a general counsel. They're looking at contracts all the time. This is a very boring B2B kind of a thing. But we know that buildings don't write checks, people do. And even general counsels, you know, sometimes have a sense of humor. They're interested in seeing, you know, interesting things. I think I've seen more and more evidence that the biggest challenge in the entire sales process and buying journey for all of us, whether we're in marketing or sales, is actually to get to the point of engagement, not to pitch what we're doing, not to even challenge someone's status quo, but to sort of earn their attention. And sometimes you do that by standing out. And so we thought about this from the point of storytelling. Like, could we figure out a story that allowed us to identify a hero, to create a problem, to identify something in the story that was the villain, essentially, right? And I think it's a really good reminder for all of us, whether you are in your sales process trying to get someone's attention, whether you're a marketer trying to create short form or long-term content. You know, there are some universal elements of stories that have been around for centuries, that have been around for thousands of years, that work, where you've got a hero, you've got a status quo, you've got something that changes, you've got a villain that perpetuates that, and eventually you work through to a solution. So that lens of storytelling works really well in a variety of sales and marketing contexts, but I think particularly we were thinking about that when we were thinking about our video concepts here.
And so that really led us to our two themes that we use to formulate our video ideas around. So the first is that your time is too valuable. And this really came out of a story that Jackie told us about reaching out to a GC late into the hours. And that individual happened to be working because they were overwhelmed, and that was their time to get work done. And so we wanted to position a little bit of the FOMO of, you know, what are you missing out on? And then we also wanted to look at it from a different lens of, you know, what is the additional stuff that you could be doing with that time? So there were two opposing opportunities when it came to approaching time. The other thing that we went back to was the idea of Control F. And for me, this was something that I particularly appreciated. I know coming out of a few years of working in a world where people always were trying to figure out how to embrace and incorporate comedy and a sense of humor and personality into their brand, a lot of times it's very challenging because you feel like you need to be satirical, which isn't necessarily the case. If you can identify for your brand or for even the industry that you work in, that commonality, something that people just commonly recognize across the industry, you can take that and flip it on its head and have some fun with it. And so the idea that these GCs are spending so much time control effing their day-to-day and their contracts, that gave us a fun thing that we knew we could have some fun with and play around with.
Oh man, I was kind of hoping for a drum roll here, but excited to share some of these ideas with you, Jackie. So one of the things that you had asked us is, what do you do when a shark swims up to you? And I kind of thought about it and I said, oh, well, you're supposed to punch it in the nose. I got some advice somewhere where you punch a shark in the nose. So you're supposed to stun them. So our first idea was around stunning your buyer. And what we mean by that is just getting right directly to the point. So punching them in the nose with, deep searching for all of your contracts. So that was kind of our first idea, was just to be super direct with the buyer and punch them in the nose and stun them. Our second one, kind of going back to Marilyn's story about, she was talking a little bit about how you had gotten on the phone with someone late at night. They were going through a bunch of different contracts, and we kind of all thought, well, what do most people want to do at 7 o'clock at night? They want to be home with their family. They want to, be enjoying their life. And so one of the things that we always harp on, being more kind of in that sales role, is really just speaking to their pain points. And so that second personalized approach of, hey, Chad, where would you want to spend most of your time? This is something where you can get super personalized, which I've always found in my times, making videos for people, put their name on the whiteboard. First way that someone's going to, go in and click your video. And then really just kind of hitting it home with that pain point of where would you want to spend your time more? Looking at contracts at 7 o'clock at night or spending time with your family? I have to say, working with Matt and Marilyn was really cool because I kind of have that more sales mindset of getting direct, straight to the point, communicating directly, but you guys were just so creative and kind of coming up with some of these different themes along the way. And so I love this idea of the manual contract search with the little kind of X through it. This is something that we felt would really get someone to click the video. What other option is there besides manually searching for a contract? What else can I do out there? Obviously, someone's going to want to click that, learn a little bit more about what else is out there besides doing that option. And then the second piece there, going back to that Control F, is really just a fun little spin on it. When you think about manually searching for contracts, all you're doing is hitting Control F, typing in some text that you're looking for, and hoping that you're finding what you need to change. So thinking about things like if a law is changing and having to go back, search for all the contracts that had that old law in it, that's going to take a lot of your time. So what else could you be doing besides Control F?
So Morgan, I like, these are super creative, and props to the team for actually the variety here, but also like how to the point these are. I think you're hitting the pain points so well. I have a question though. So I see obviously some really great copy, amazing subject lines, and that visual, the thumbnail, like that's going to get, if I'm a GC, you probably click it at least, right? When I play the video, what do I hear? Is it just like the normal elevator pitch with a little bit of personalization, or how does that change?
Yeah, that's a great question. So how we kind of put it together is, obviously the more personalized, the better, any of your videos are, or you're going to get those better responses, right? However, not everyone has time to sit there and make tons and tons of personalized videos all day. So when you think about the content, once you click one of those videos, we want to make sure that it's very, going to be personalized to that persona. Obviously, this is going to be GCs. So we're going to start out by really just hitting those pain points of what they're probably doing on, a regular basis. One of the things that we had talked about quite a few times is that this particular persona, they're very smart. To Marilyn's point, might be a little bit arrogant sometimes. And so what we want to make sure is that the language that we're portraying in these videos is, you're spending a lot of time doing this. That there could be another way, but maybe you just haven't thought about it yet. So in the context of the actual video itself, we're really just hoping to hit the pain points very quickly up front, keep it around a minute long, and then go into that elevator pitch. No one wants to click a video and you just kind of belt out that elevator pitch that's not personalized to that person or maybe the company and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense.
One of the other important things that we've seen, and sorry, Team One, for chiming in here, but is to your point though, is the narrative behind the video needs to support the theme, right? You can't get away with a clickbaity thumbnail image and then it's not at all relevant. And I've seen that happen, and I've seen it backfire on people. And so if you after this, when you go and watch each of these videos, you'll see how we actually scripted the narrative. They're all different. Like each one of these videos has a different script to it. And it's because it's playing up the theme in a way that introduces it, that builds trust, and then transitions it into the conversation you want to have. And this was actually a very funny one, the idea of the control F, where you could actually work that language in of, as we like to call it, control Fing. The other thing I love about this is I think it's kind of it's a bit of a, talk trigger point where I would totally see, this could be a total ABM campaign. Like you could send them a little baggie of control and F keys and let them know these are probably worn out on your keyboard from control Fing so much. Here's some temporary keys to solve that. Longer term, we've got a better solution, right? Like there's some really fun ways that they could play it up, and I think it's really, really neat.
That's a great idea.
Well, that concept of the elevator pitch, I mean, you can move on to the next slide here as I sort of talk about this. The elevator pitch is not 60 stories long, right? I mean, it's part of that 1 minute. Imagine you've got 1 story elevator ride. What are you going to say that's at least going to get someone to say, hey, walk with me and tell me more? And it could be something as simple as saying, are you tired of hitting control F over and over and over and over and over again? Like, talk to me, because we solved that problem, right? That is your 1 story elevator pitch that might actually get you to the next story. So really quickly, as we wrap up with some of our ideas here, and I do want to apologize to Jackie for taking her face and just crudely putting it on top of Tyler's hoodie with the man hands.
Sorry about the man hands, Jackie.
I saw it looks like that episode of Seinfeld where he dates the woman.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm just like it's creepy. I think I saw the.
I totally agree.
I saw the new trailer for the new Child's Play movie, like with the Chucky doll, and this could be the beginning of a whole nother. Anyway, I should stop. All right, so our last 2 concepts here. One was related to an interest that Jackie has, which was running, and I like the idea here. Now, and honestly, when you get to the page that has the actual examples, and in all seriousness, kudos to Tyler, who spent a ton of time actually recording examples of all of these with the copy. Yeah. Like he literally went outside, and I'm looking right now at his face on this running one, and he clearly actually ran. His cheeks are red. He's kind of out of breath, so he got in. He was doing method acting for his
method acting.
I really appreciate. But the idea here is like, if you're spending all day long doing manual things that should be automated for you. And what could you do with that time? Like, what are you interested in doing? If you like to run, wouldn't you like to run in the middle of the day and still get all your work done? Like, that's an opportunity for you here. The other thing we talked about here, this is one of my favorites, is the idea of the Nappuccino. And if anyone's ever heard of the Nappuccino, basically what it means is it's based on science that says, like, when you consume caffeine, it takes your body about 20 minutes to actually sort of ingest and react to that caffeine and give you the boost of energy. So the idea is you take a really quick shot of coffee and you immediately go to sleep. And so 20 minutes later, you wake up and you are ready to roll for the afternoon. So it was kind of just kind of a fun, silly concept that we thought would be really interesting in a still image like this. In the short little video intro that Tyler has over here, like he starts to sleep and then wakes up all of a sudden and is talking. It's very visually interesting, right? And I think when you've got a prospect that is getting all kinds of just static text-based emails on a regular basis, I mean, think about what's in your inbox right now. And are you going to open and read any of those? Like, you see something like this and you're like, what the hell is going on? Why is he sleeping on a Christmas pillow in the middle of April? Like, you're at least going to get someone's attention. It's going to give you the opportunity to tell a message. If you think about direct mail, like if you don't nail the envelope in a direct mail package, it doesn't matter what's in the envelope. And every one of these images, every one of these chyrons, this is the envelope that gets you inside. So I love these ideas.
Breaking through the clutter a little bit. I love it.
Sorry, did you say something, Matt? Sorry, I dozed off there.
Yeah, nice. There's the I'm hoping that's a hotel pillow and not something that's still in your house. You need to put away the Christmas stuff, Tyler. It's almost summer.
Next.
Cool. So, Jackie, as you were explaining to us what other options are out there besides using you guys, we started thinking about you know, people just shuffling through all these different contracts in a Google Drive. And I just had this visual and I said, hey, like, why wouldn't we just put that in a video? Obviously, it's something that's going to be super familiar to these GCs that you're reaching out to. So why don't we just put it in front of their face and say, hey, this is probably what your screen looks like a lot of the time of the day. But, you know, kind of go from there and say, hey, your screen doesn't actually have to look like this. So we thought this would be a really great way to kind of hook them in, but also go back to that villain that we were talking about of going back to review every single one of those contracts when a law changes. So instead of having to go through the Google Drive, Control F every single contract and figure out which law was in there, why not just go with you guys, right? The next one, which I think this one's really cool. Who doesn't love a great product screenshot here? But essentially, this is kind of showing that there is another way. There is another way besides going through your Google Drive here. So I've found personally in a lot of my video outreach that just kind of, as you can see here, we do kind of have one of your target accounts portrayed right here on the screen, but it's an attention grabber as well as kind of giving them a little teaser into what your product looks like and how there is that better way. So these were kind of two ideas of how, hey, we can include some screenshots here. And to be honest, I have worked with some other SDRs who don't really like to have their entire face on a screen. And they're a little bit more comfortable with having the little bubble down there in the lower left-hand corner and kind of putting more of the emphasis on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. And by the way, I love the detail in these emails. Whoever put those together, chad@lawyer.com. I love that you even filled out the to field. That's great.
So I guess some final takeaways would be, one, defining your story. And I think this is a very common theme that we've been hearing now for a couple of years. And defining story is going to help you accomplish a few things. One, it's going to make it more engaging and it's going to provide some clarity in your message. Another thing that it's going to help you do is understand what type of content can be used at different stages of the sales process. And this became very evident when we watched all of these videos all the way through, was that they could serve multiple purposes. We know that you're not going to connect with somebody necessarily on the first outreach. We know that you have different stages of your sales cycle. And so some of these videos could be used at different points in time, depending on your engagement. Another thing that really jumped out at us is identifying your hook. And this, to me, is something that I've held on to for several years. Years ago at Eloqua Experience or Modern Marketing Experience or whatever they call it now, Vince Gilligan was the keynote speaker. And he was talking through how he works with his writing room. And they were talking specifically at the time about Breaking Bad. And he would go in and he would sit down with the writing room and ask, what is the first thing that the viewer is going to see? And that is how, of course, you have these amazing openings to both Breaking Bad and now Better Call Saul, where it captures you at the very beginning. And as the viewer, you're constantly trying to figure out how this all ties together. And anytime you create something that is visually engaging, I think it's really important to think like that. A third takeaway is to think like a marketer, but communicate like a sales rep. And I would say, Morgan, if you want to chime in on this, because as you mentioned earlier, I think Matt and I had a tendency to go down our marketing path, and you were really good too about bringing us back to think about it from the point of view of the salesperson.
Yeah, so just in my time, and by the way, the Nappuccino was the coolest thing I ever heard of. And so honestly, I'm going to see if I can get my marketing team to maybe join in on something like that. But from my experience of reaching out with video, the first time you reach out to someone, you want it to be the most direct, the most personalized touch point in your sequence of reaching out to someone, right? But at the same time, you do want to tell a story. You want to kind of build up along the way. And if you can do a combination of being super direct with your communication, but also tell a fun story and grab the attention, you're going to have the perfect formula. So.
And then I think using your passions is really important. It's okay to bring your authentic self to the work that you do. And that's always going to connect with people more. And I'd say lastly, if I could add a fifth one that's not on here, and I was thinking about this, What made this whole exercise extremely worthwhile, I hope for Jackie, but I know personally, is getting outside of your own day-to-day work and industry and start thinking about how other people solve problems, because you're going to find that it actually loops back to the work that you're doing. So for example, with this exercise, what I ended up doing was yesterday spending almost 2 hours with one of our SDRs to talk about a video series that was really inspired by a lot of this work. So I would say almost a fifth is look outside of your own space for inspiration, not just from stuff that you're seeing, but how you can interact and engage with other people outside of your own industry.
I love these tips. These are great tips. You know, as a marketer, I know a lot of marketers keep a swipe file where we see things we like, campaigns run by other people, newsletters, ads. We steal them, we keep them for later, and when we're looking for inspiration, we go back and we look at them. Salespeople, do that too. Subscribe to your competitors, watch their emails. Subscribe to people outside your industry. Watch how they prospect you. Ask your VPs or your CROs to forward their stuff to you, the emails and the calls that they get to you, so you can see those and hear those. One of the things that stood out to me about the process you used that felt like a really actionable takeaway for me was looking at, on the slide at the beginning, you had 4 things laid out. What's your, links, it was about the buyer, about Jackie, about LinkSquares, and about the main value props, right? So just lay out like a few bullet points in each of those areas. And the narratives felt so easy to pull out there. And your pitches started to be really obvious. I love seeing that process behind this creation. Okay, so that wraps it up for team 1. Everybody, audience, remember Control F, remember the Nappuccino. You're gonna vote in a minute. Let's hand it over to team 2. We've got Tyler and Sean Sandy Carroll. They're gonna try to eke out a win here. Let's see what you got, guys.
Let's do this.
Yeah, we're putting Ryan and Jamie in our backs, and we're just going to carry them through this.
We got this. We got this. So, why don't I talk a little bit about Kylie and what we learned about her and PowerReviews. So I think what was, really great as well here is with Kylie, they're actually selling to organizations that have physical products. And so they are selling to folks running e-commerce and digital marketing programs that have online commerce on their own website and are using third-party channels. And the main solution that they provide is the ability to collect and curate and analyze and display reviews and user-generated content. And so if you're out there buying a pair of shoes online, you may be checking user reviews to build trust and make sure that they actually, work the way they say they do. And so they have a great solution to help with that. But what was interesting was as we started to peel it back, we realized they're much more than just a reviews engine. There's a lot of aspects to the solution that help their buyers ultimately, I think same to the first team, save a lot of time and do a lot more with less. And there was a lot of interesting things that we could peel back there. One of the things about their buyers, the couple things that Kylie told us was, first of all, they're often wearing a lot of different hats and trying to do a lot of different things at the same time. And this gives them limited capacity to really do reviews and user-generated content well. And I think a big part of that, which we pulled out was, and you'll see this in some of the content, is how her team can really play up the fact that they offer this turnkey solution. That's not just a product, but it's a service, and it's people behind it that can help them on a day-to-day basis. And part of that is their need for a turnkey solution. Sean, do you want to add to that or talk a little bit about Kylie? And
Sure. Well, I think that what's interesting is that this is, Kylie and Jackie as examples are pretty different. I know Jackie, and she's been on the Sellout show and talked about how the GCs and her CFOs, that they're sharks and you got to boop them on the nose. She told that story, which is fabulous. It's a little bit more difficult when you're selling to e-commerce managers and digital marketers who are, their personality is not necessarily honed into these really specific characteristics like you generally find with GCs and chief financial officers. It could be anyone. And that could be a size company. So the audience that she is going to could vary wildly. So it's not necessarily as specific as how Jackie would set up her examples. So something else to note too, Kylie's relatively new with PowerReviews. was interesting and also good in its own right. So I just think it's interesting to contrast and compare these two too. Their value proposition, richer reviews, stop cobbling things together. You could be doing more with reviews. She's got a case where most people already have a solution to collect reviews. It just is probably all the needs, or it's not powerful enough to do what PowerReviews can do and take it to the next level. She is very kind of cerebral. I think that you get her inquisitive nature. First thing I noticed when I looked at her LinkedIn profile is her mention to Harry Potter. I think she mentioned she's like Team Ravenclaw or House Ravenclaw or whatever. I'm not that familiar with Harry Potter, but that's her thing, right? So what a great way to connect with someone on that. She's very curious. Good questions, and her curiosity propels her in this position and to ask questions to buyers and prospects. And she's very compassionate and caring and a giver as well. Her hobbies are, she has 2 pets, a cat and a ferret, and she likes to cook and travel. So that's about Kylie. And so our approach to putting together video solutions was kind of personality based and then also product based, which I think is going to be really good. You're going to see the way we did this. This is also really interesting, the difference between the way Tyler and I think about things. Tyler, as the marketer, he was like, oh wow, let's do all this stuff and the comparison, the contrast, and he put his marketing hooks on it. And I was thinking more like, well, how do we get someone's attention and how do we build that relationship and by pulling them into our personality? So you're going to see some of both of those examples here. And God bless you, Tyler, for all the work you did on putting these together. Really good job. Thank you very much.
Well, it was super fun. And the one thing as well that we had talked about and Ryan and Jamie had, really focused in on as well is that, Kylie has the ability to leverage visuals in a lot of different ways. So their own product is very visual. You can see here on the screen, these are what reviews look like with their product. And that's actually part of their value prop is, other companies just have text-based reviews. Part of their value prop is their visual nature. So actually being able to show their capabilities, but again, as well, their customers' products that they're trying to sell are also visual. They're selling physical products. So there's lots of different ways in which she can play. And that, of course, plays so well into video, right? That's what you can't do with the other mediums. And so, Kylie, what you're going to see here are a lot of examples of how to bring in different relatable visuals to your users to try to get that first click through and get to that point of engagement. So let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You're welcome for not putting your face over me after, we did the first round of that and I saw the man hands. I was like, enough of that. Why don't I'll kick off with the first one here because, I'm the whiteboard video guy and it's something that's, second nature to me. And I think, there's a couple ideas in here that aren't as wild as others that I think are ones you can just get going with, and you'll see some throughout. But this first one is that really straightforward, using a personalization, a whiteboard or something else. It gives the ability to get their name on there, deliver a more custom message through that visual screenshot. And in this case, this is really about, helping you just take your existing pitch that you're using in email and phone and translating it into video format. Now, this isn't the be all and end all, but I think it's a safe bet for you to start trying it out because the messaging can be pretty consistent with what you already do. And it's really just using video as a medium to deliver it to see if you can level up that kind of engagement. And I really like the idea of playing off of this like verbiage of a quick video message to tell you this, and you can even play that up in the email copy as well. Because people aren't used to getting video messages, especially people who run e-commerce. And so it can be just a great way to tell that same message, but to do it in a little bit more of an engaging manner.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so Tyler, we've got a quick question here from the audience, and I want to add one to it. So Scott Giese is asking, just to clarify, each of these are separate videos, right? Not all different scenes from one long video.
No, that's correct. These are the past group was 8 totally separate videos. You can go watch each of them. And these are also, you're going to see an equivalent amount from us here. Yeah.
So if you had like a sequence running between calls and emails and there were 3 or 4 emails in your sequence, you could sprinkle in a couple of these videos and try them out in different orders and stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think part of it is having different ones to try. And also part of it is, you may try each of these and see which one sticks, right? And different people in their teams too. I think one thing for Kylie is these are great examples that you might run with, but share these with your team, right? Because other people may be more comfortable going out into a store and filming in front of a shoe wall if you're not, right? So we wanted to get lots of different ideas depending on what you feel is right for you.
And I had one other really quick question, and that is, in your whiteboard example, you've personalized it because you got Will's name right there on the whiteboard. Does that mean you're also recording a different video for every prospect, or are you going to personalize the thumbnail for the email for each recipient and then just give them the same video on the back end?
I think it's actually an important thing to note. I think with all the videos that you're seeing is that most of them have the ability to do these personalized one-to-one, but there's also simple variants of them that you could just record once, have available in your library, and send them out as you need to. So for example, the one on the left, I could just have, are your reviews driving revenue up on the whiteboard? And I could just be saying, hey, it's Kylie from PowerReviews here, da 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 da. And so I could record that once, nail it, and be able to send that out as I need to. However, if it's somebody who's a high value prospect, I may want to go that extra length to actually write their name on it, do it personally, talk about their company as a way to maximize my chance of engagement. And I think that's a smart way to do it is think about some of these and go, I could do one general version that I could use at scale, but then for high value accounts, maybe I want to do a customized one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more people see themselves in what you're putting out there, the more likely they're going to click. So the next example, Kylie has she has some specific target brands that actually she's really passionate about herself. High quality pet nutrition, shoe company, there's a coffee company that she absolutely loves. So Tyler took that. We thought, marketers know they've got competition, but to stand in front of all the options that consumers have, and then walk through the process of, here's what the options your consumers have. How do they understand, the benefits or the features or why you're the best? So to actually take it and bring it, much like the running one where you have, Jackie on the streets, you could have Kylie in the store to where she's, got shoes, whether it's a green screen. Like, Tyler, were you actually at shoe stores at a green screen?
Oh yeah, I was totally at the shoe store. Yeah, absolutely.
You bought the running shoes so you could do the other running video. I get it. Yeah. So, but whether she's standing in the nutrition aisle or wherever, but to be able to, just say, look, look at all the options, that your competitors have. How can we help put your reviews over the line so people understand quicker? There's more visual element to it. So just put her in front of there. Whether it's the shoes or their product, or it's, for instance, I've got recruiters using Vidyard to do recruiting where they've got someone's LinkedIn profile on the screen and they're in the corner. The more someone sees themselves in what you're showing, the faster and the higher the click rate is going to be that they're actually going to get to that message and actually click.
And one of the neat plays in messaging we did with this one was, I'm out here at the store and I've got dozens, if not hundreds of options. How am I going to choose? And at least in a physical environment, I have the ability to actually touch and feel and see the product. When I'm online, I don't even have that benefit. And that's where social proof is so important. So you need amazing user-generated content to ensure those people shopping online can get that feedback from other buyers and drive a higher conversion rate. So so Kylie, and you'll see afterwards, we have sort of the scripts and email messaging suggestions for each of these as well. And you'll see how we played on themes like that. Mm-hmm. The next one is similar to the last one, but a little bit more scalable, which is a simple idea, but I think super, super effective, which is just if you are targeting somebody where you can get a hold of their physical product, you don't have to go out to the store. You can do this at scale right in your office or at your desk. And it's just about holding up that product that they have and using it as a way, A, to drive the click through, but B, to also talk about how passionate you are about that product. And hopefully it is the case, right? I don't think you want to do that if you don't genuinely like the product, but it sounds like a lot of folks you're going after you do. And so I think the simple act, if you're prospecting somebody at the Kind bars, having that bar open and maybe it's already open and there's a bite out of it because you just couldn't resist it, right? And you're holding it up there, and that ability for them to relate to that and see, hey, wait a minute, that's one of our bars. This looks interesting. And you use that as an opportunity to say, you know what, I am a huge fan of your product. So I wanted to start by telling you, thanks for making such a great product. I'm really passionate about it. And actually, as an AE at PowerReviews, I think I can even help you be more successful. And I'm invested in your success. And so I want to talk to you about how I can really help you sell more bars, because I want to make sure I can eat them forever and my kids can eat them and you guys are around for a long time. So it's building that trust and investment in them as a brand.
Which
We've got a really good question here from Scott. The question is, are we going to show an example of using video for B2B when chasing like an enterprise or a large company with more than 1,000 employees? I think this is a really important point, because it's not necessarily about who you're chasing and whether video in general will work. It's more about the practice of how to generate a video for that person. This is a person-to-person communication. You can do one-to-many as well, but this is about you as a human being talking to the human being on the other end. So it really shouldn't matter how many employees or how many colleagues they have working with them.
right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when you do something like this is a great example where if you're targeting somebody, so that's my Echo shoe, which I love, and I would totally give them a 5-star review. And so if I were targeting Echo as an account and there's multiple different potential people I'm targeting, I could record that video once talking about how much I love my Echo shoes and I'm really invested. And I could send that to all the potential people at that account that I think are potential buyers. And so I don't say the person's name. I do it once for that company, send it to as many people as I can, and then sit back and wait to see who watches it. And I get notified and know, oh, this person watched it all the way to the end. That's the person I'm going to zero in on. So lots of ways that you can use it.
Yeah, it's more multidimensional than email, but it's scalable. This is completely scalable.
All right, on to number 4. You want to start with this one, Sean?
Yeah. So what I think is really cool is we went from the shoe background to the one shoe, now to the shoe review. So Kylie, what you could do with this is actually generate a series. Because one of the things I think video lends itself really well to is creating continuity of experiencing you and your personality. So if you're targeting an account, showing the options and how do people learn about it, and then showing someone in this, the video where you're holding their product, how passionate you are about their product. And then you move to, say, the next touch point could be, hey, look, I left you a review, but I couldn't add a video, or how are you going to use this and make user-generated content and make my review work harder for you? So you could actually use that in a series where you've got multiple touch points, and then create that continuity of, 1, you are passionate about their product, 2, you know it really well, and 3, you know what to do, whereas they don't have this functionality yet. You realize they don't have the functionality yet. So there's so many different things that PowerReviews can do to take your average review, that black and white, that text-based thing, and then make it come to life. That is a series. You could totally make that come to life.
And Kylie, rest assured, I did not go around leaving reviews on your behalf, pretending, masquerading as you. This is a beautiful example of PowerPoint editing. But something like this is actually really cool, where I created a slide. I did a little screen capture of the top of Death Wish Coffee's website. I did a little screen capture of one of their reviews, and then I just typed in an example one. I just mocked that up in literally 3 minutes. And it's, people don't think to do that. But if somebody at Death Wish Coffee got this video, I would be thinking they would be likely to click into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings me to the next one, which is a variant of that, which is the idea of, using some more specific visuals to represent the message you want to deliver to them. And following up on that Death Wish Coffee is, you had mentioned in our call that one of their problems, they've got lots of reviews, but they actually sell on Walmart.com as well, and their reviews aren't syndicating over. And that's a big problem for them that you can solve. And I think you can send them as many emails as you want typing that message out, but when they actually see it, I think that's the aha moment for them. And I know it was for me when I tried. I went over to Walmart.com, search for it, and I clicked on it, and I saw there's no reviews. And back on their website, they have hundreds of reviews, and everybody's like, this is the greatest thing ever. And they're talking about Vikings because Valhalla is one of their brands, and they've got this ridiculously passionate community around it. And so the idea of showing this visually and oh my gosh, the fact that you don't have any of those reviews on Walmart is costing you money, because I'm not sure that people would buy this without seeing the kinds of reviews based on how expensive the coffee is, right? No offense, Death Wish, but it's pretty ridiculous. So something like that you can really use to say, this review on the top here, why isn't it here as well? And then on the right-hand side is, again, just a really quick mock-up I did in a little slide to show you, and here's what else your reviews could actually look like with us, with visuals and with other things, as a way to just tease that visual out.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a wacky one. Sean, do you want to try to explain this, or do you want me to tackle it?
Well, so I just, I didn't see your finished product yet, Tyler, but here's the concept. You know, trust is their currency, right? Trust is a really big deal when it comes to reviews, that social proof. So what if Kylie sent them a review of her? She could actually take this and do a couple different variants on it. And that, you know, she mocked up a review of working with Kylie. And then I actually thought, I think it'd be really cool too, is to sit down where two people on screen and someone gives a verbal review of Kylie. This is Kylie. I give her 5 stars because XYZ. PowerReviews really does have the ability to make really strong visuals come to life with video for their clients. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the fun twist here as well is you could have that conversation where, would you be more likely to work with me as a sales rep if you had access to a review about me like this, where you could actually see how my past customers rated me, but actually dig into the comments from those people who left 2 stars. And this video is actually kind of fun, where you say, like, apparently those 2 people, the cons they found about me was that I care a bit too much and I'm a little bit too detail oriented, right? So you can have a little bit of fun with it. It's about establishing that idea. And then you can say at the end, if something like this would build more trust in working with me as a sales rep, imagine what reviews like this could do for your products. And at the same time, you've actually taught them about you, hopefully gotten them to trust you a little bit, and then woven it back into what you actually want to talk to them about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a few minutes left. Let me plow through the last couple here. So these 2 are similar in nature, and these are some wild and wacky ideas playing on that concept of these people wear too many hats, they're juggling too many things, they're cobbling stuff together. The video on the left, you can see that my props, that would normally be a box of Rice Krispies, peanut butter, a potato, and this is playing into your passion for cooking. And the idea here was, and the script is a little bit fun, watch the video please, but it's really having these ingredients there and saying, when you are trying to manage your reviews and user-generated content, do you feel like you have some of the right ingredients, but not the full recipe for success? And if so, and then I wipe them off the table and I pull out the complete brownie kit and say, wouldn't it be better if you had a all-in-one solution that was really easy and ready to go? And the one on the right is obviously me juggling, and it starts with that's the animated GIF thumbnail of the video, and then it starts off with, you know, basically, are you juggling too many tasks? And as a result, are your reviews falling behind? If so, we have a great solution, not only a product, but a service to help you out. Mm-hmm. So go watch those. And I think there's some pretty fun ones there. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end on the obligatory cat video. Now, this is a dog. I get it. This is a dog, not a cat. It was inspired by this video that one of our customers did with their Frenchie, where they had their dog and they cut scenes where they were dropping little signs in front of the dog to tell a little story when they were targeting a pet company. You mentioned you're targeting some pet nutrition companies. So we came up with a video where you could put your own cat, hopefully, into the video and have little signs dropped in front of her as it goes saying that, I'm the cat, I love your product, I gave it a 5-star review, but I wish I could have shared even more. Like what I like best, I can totally tell it's organic. And the video goes on to say that maybe PowerReviews is the perfect solution for you. Oh, thank you, Colin. Thank you very much.
What fun.
So a really little fun one where you could bring your cat in, and but you could also try the ferret. There it is.
Yeah, ferret is. Oh, that was the pun as well.
Ferret is. Oh, yes. All right. Okay, we got to plow through this because you guys need to vote.
Okay.
Do it. What are your takeaways?
So really quickly, one of the first things that we want you to know is we asked Kylie, what what would you not feel comfortable doing? Because the thing about video is that it's a preview of working with you. I talked about continuity, and it's okay to stretch yourself and do things that you maybe not be comfortable with. A lot of people are not comfortable doing video, being this close to the camera, getting in front of the camera. You feel stupid, you sound stupid, but I promise you, you're great. But don't do something that's completely out of character for you, or silly, or gimmicky, or manipulative, if you're not going to back that up and be able to do it consistently. So know your personality, push out of your comfort zone. And then, like you could see, especially with the PowerReviews examples, you can use a mix of personal, creative, and then really tapping into the problems that your buyers have and speaking their language. So you can mix that up and use it in different ways, and show. If you've got something worthwhile showing, show them how you can transform what you're doing with your product. Know what you're up against. If you've got other people, you've got competitors. In this instance, for PowerReviews, their buyers already have a solution. So know who you're selling against, which is going to be the status quo. So Kylie's opening needs to be getting people to think that there could be a different solution. It could be cobbling things together, etc. And to Tyler's point down here, everyone loves cats, shoes, and coffee. And I think that you have a good shot, Kylie, of introducing people to why ferrets make great pets in some future videos.
I love it. I love it. Is it time to vote, Colin?
It's voting time. It is voting time. You're all going to see a poll pop up on your screen in just a second. Remember that there's no losers, but whoever doesn't win will get shamed socially. So take your vote right now. I'm voting. We have a tie option, but when we told the panelists about the tie option, they got angry. They only want to win. So make sure you vote for team 1 or 2.
Yeah, no ties. Ties are weak sauce. Come on, stand for something, people.
And we're going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Polls are closed. The votes are being counted. Let's see what the result is. Oh, team 1 took it by a landslide. I have to say though, if those tie votes, if the swing vote voted team 2, guys, it would have been a dead tie. So out of 66 voters, 36 voted for team 1. Well done, Matt, Marilyn, and Morgan. You took the cake today.
Well done, folks.
I got to be honest, this was really important to me today, so I'm really excited about this outcome.
I'm going to put this on my LinkedIn profile.
Winner of the first ever, the inaugural Videoify My Sales Pitch. All right, so
and I'll make sure to tag 100 people in it as well.
Yeah.
So before you all go, this here is the link. If you want to go and watch all 18 of these phenomenal videos, you can watch them all the way through. You can hear the script as it plays out. Take a screenshot of that, type it into your browser, videoify.hubs.vidyard.com. They're all up there right now. We'll send that link in the follow-up email. And then if you submitted your pitch, but you did not get chosen, I'm very sorry, we could only do 2, but some awesome Vidyardians will follow up with all of you in the next few weeks to give you guys some great ideas as well. And then if you didn't submit your pitch, but now you're like, oh crap, I wish I had, we will include the link back to the form, and you are all welcome to follow up on that, submit your pitch. And again, wonderful Vidyardians will follow up with you with their own ideas. I can't guarantee they will be as phenomenal as the Nappuccino. I know that's one for you guys, but or it was maybe the man hands thing. But anyways, so feel free to submit your pitch afterwards, and we will do our best to come back to you with at least 3 or 4 creative ideas. So, Colin, I know we ran right up to time here, so I don't know if we have any more for Q&A, but we'll dig through that, and I'll try to get back to as many as I can following the webinar.
We did great, and we're getting a lot of thank yous. So thank you, all of the panelists, Matt, Morgan, Sean, Marilyn, Tyler, and of course to Jamie and Ryan, who aren't here, but with us in spirit. The community really loves the work that you guys put into this. I think they appreciate the insights. We did get some questions that we didn't get to. Vidyard is doing a fantastic job following up with everybody on all these other things. I'm sure they can answer a few questions. And of course, you can connect with Tyler on LinkedIn and ask him if you don't get an answer.
You know it.
For that, and that's it for today. What a webinar. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and we'll see you next time on the next Sales Hacker webinar.